The concept with equivalent fractions is to make fractions that look different but are actually equal in terms of value. It may even help to know that equivalent has the word equal as a root. So what does this actually look like? If we take a simple fraction like 1/2, we can see that we have one piece we need to shade in out of 2. If we copy the picture over, we can then begin modifying it. So, if I take this 1/2 and divide both pieces into 2, what's our new fraction? Well, as you can see, we now have 4 pieces, and now we have 2 of those pieces shaded in. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4. If I take another half piece and I divide it into 6, or if I divide each half into thirds, I will get 6 total pieces, and out of those shaded in, I have 3 shaded pieces. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4, which is the same as 3/6. So how does this work? Well, if I take my original fraction, 1/2, and I double the amount of pieces I have by cutting each one in half, I now have 4 pieces, so I can multiply the denominator by 4. Now if you also notice, I also split the number of pieces that I shaded in. So in that case, I need to multiply the numerator as well by 2. So if I multiply straight across, I have 1 times 2, which is 2, and 2 times 2, which is 4. So I have 1/2 equaling 2/4. The same idea is true when I turn 1/2 into 3/6. The fraction still represents the same amount of stuff, it just looks a little different. So if I take 1/2 and I divide each piece into 3, or if I multiply each piece by 3, I will get 3/6. So if I multiply my denominator by 3, as you can see I split them up into 3 pieces each, I also tripled the amount of pieces that I have shaded in, so I need to multiply the numerator by 3 as well. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. This will work with any fraction as long as you multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. For example, if you multiplied the numerator and denominator in 1/3 by 2, you would get 2/6. Well, what would that look like as a picture? If I took my 1/3 and divided each of those pieces into 2 pieces, I now have 6 pieces, and I still have 2 pieces shaded in, showing us that 1/3 is equal to 2/6. If we can multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number, we can divide them by the same number as well, as long as the numbers go in evenly. In this case, we have the fraction 4/10. Both numbers can be divided by 2 evenly. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. 10 divided by 2 will be 5. So, 4/10 is equal to 2/5. You may hear this concept also known as simplifying or reducing fractions. It is important to understand that numbers can look different but still represent the same quantity. At some point, you will encounter fractions that you have to add that don't have the same denominator. In this case, we would have to make equivalent fractions for both these numbers so we can add them. So to recap, we can multiply or divide the numbers in a fraction to create equivalent fractions. Fractions need to be multiplied or divided by the same number. If you're simplifying or reducing a fraction, you need to make sure both numbers, numerator and denominator, can be divided evenly by that number.